Well, I'm very curious to look at your ChatGPT cache.
Yeah. Some of it is very simple. Why the mosquito so big?
Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to Offscript, part of the Wild and Wise podcast, a space where we invite creative business minds to come together to have conversations about the future. How do we stay ahead in a fast-changing world? And with that, let's get going with our guest of today. Welcome to the podcast, Jeremy. It's so cool to have you here. Before we get going, maybe just want to hear from you what has changed since the GE, what has been keeping you busy, man?
We have traineeships now. As far as politics goes, I've been hanging out with the various parties, speak with members from PAP, you know, for the outcome of just connecting everybody in politics. Like we always talk about business networking, right? But we seldom talk about politics networking. I see it as a win-win for Singaporeans if we are less adversarial lah. Basically, all the politicians maintain open communication with each other, not just say two parties lah.
Yeah.
So I find it very important that over the next 5 years, I build up that common network, that, you know, that speaking channels, people maintain open conversations before they start. You don't want politics to be built over, like policies to be built over a span of time without like the real public feedback, right?
Yep.
And sometimes people can collect maybe 4 or 5 comments opposing a new policy or something on Reddit, and you know, policy maker will say, this is just isolated. But when you go into actual physical events and you know, and the ones that I've been attending and organizing, you actually see the real feedback and the real ideas. I think that's good for Singapore lah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you have seen all the regulations around stablecoins in Singapore and globally as well. It's changing, DBS is changing, MAS changing. So I'm actually building a platform, or rather, you know, I'm building a product whereby it's a operating system for stablecoins lah. So it's, because you know, part of my campaigning was I want to have more companies adopt Bitcoin, more people adopt Bitcoin. But it's nearly impossible for them to do so if they don't know where to start lah. They need an operating system lah. Think of it as like, you know, if you have your banking app is your personal place to organize your finances, all that, right? But you also want it to plug and play with other things, right? And businesses don't have that right now. To receive stablecoin, to issue cards to spend those stablecoins, to receive and manage their Bitcoin, like permissions or whatnot. I mean, we were talking about scams just now, right? So imagine like you don't want your company's users managing the treasury, suddenly kena love scam, then the Bitcoin all gone or whatever.
So is it like an API or a marketplace kind of thing, or what?
I'm trying to do it like an operating system marketplace.
Right.
So, you know, you connect it to agentic AI will help you scout for yields. So you can just plug in whatever you want, and then agentic AI will also orchestrate payment flows, payroll, stuff like receivables, warnings and stuff like that lah. So this stablecoin is something I'm doing lah, you know.
You don't think the Visas and MasterCards will get into?
They are definitely in the space, but they're more of building the infrastructure lah, right? And what I'm doing is an operating system whereby you receive, but you also build it out. It's like a Shopify app store style, like you plug and play other things as well. Yeah, I'm sure you've done e-commerce, right? Yeah. So it's a lot of it. It's that you need central command, user management, stuff that the bigger boys are not interested in, right? Yeah. And also, like for example, if a company wants to issue their own loyalty card or issue for example, their corporate spending card.
So it's going to be like a SaaS solution.
It will be like a B2B2C lah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because for example, if you have a small business, let's just say you have a cleaning business and whatnot, and you have just money in your bank that's not doing anything, you should be able to plug those flows into yield generating areas.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I should.
This conversation has gotten really heavy very
Yeah.
But it's the biggest problem with Bitcoin, right? I mean, it's there, it's good, but I just don't know how to use it. Right? I mean, all the way from wallets to POS systems, there's just no
It's not
insight.
accessible.
Yeah, I think even just monitoring your stablecoin flows, right? Right now, if you do any accounting, it's always like, I need to reconcile with my QuickBooks. I need to reconcile with that. But with stablecoins, everything is instantaneous, and that changes everything, because you know, in accounting, there's always like, how much is owed where, when, and there's time lag, there's delay, there's insurance issues. Money flows are the things and the reasons why we still pay accountants, right? But with stablecoin, everything is instantaneous, everything is finalized. What escrow you have. So in the future, everybody will be only accepting stablecoins, right? SWIFT will be done for major institutions to handle between themselves, but stablecoins will be, you know, the fluid of all business in the future.
Interesting. I think for a small business like what I'm doing now, right? Like there is some money which I wish I could always invest.
Yeah.
I'm using this bank called Aspire Bank now.
Yeah.
right?
So what I'm building is Aspire for stablecoins, but I'll open source some parts lah.
Nice. Okay.
Because some people may want their own UI, their own UX. So maybe it's more of like the middle is where I really close source it. The protocol is where I open source it. The UI is stuff like that.
The education part, I think is very key also. Like to teach people like new businesses, small businesses, and all that.
No, I mean the education part also is key, like you said, but the way to do it is like you like money on your money, you know. It's like over the weekend, right, your money not doing anything.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great soundbite.
Solid, man.
So I guess that's what I've been busy with.
How do you personally manage so many things that you juggle with and not drop any balls?
I don't see it as that many things yet because I don't have a political party yet, right? Right? So much of it is conversational, much of it is thought. I use AI a lot, so on the move, as I have thoughts about how to approach certain topics, I ask my 3 favorites so far. I mean, excluding Cursor which I used to code, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Grok lah. And ChatGPT is great because they are very 自动, they're very auto, and they ask you, do you want me to put a diagram for your idea? Yeah. That was like, oh yes,
Sure, why not?
yeah. It's like a butler, no, they do a butler. So I think ChatGPT has changed their UI UX to become more like they prompt you instead of you prompt them. Right? Perplexity is good for doing some very public search and stitching that together. Yeah, and then Grok is like, it's for all the wild west of the internet to stitch all the information from their side. Like you can get totally unfiltered stuff. I think that's very important, right? So how I'm managing is a lot of using all AI, and that will be actually the way politics will go in the future as well. Most of the things that you see being done on the ground level these days, it's all WhatsApp chain, WhatsApp and CC chain.
Sure.
Right. But eventually it will come to a point whereby most of government functions will be just, if you need to orchestrate something, get the AI to plan it out. Then you feed, the human only feeds the plan to the agentic AI. Yesterday I was looking at some diagnosis technology from doctors, right? And my wife was having a discussion because her friend wants to, set up a clinical chain, right? And we were discussing about which jobs get displaced first.
GPs.
Right? I don't know. Then, you know what I was saying? I was saying her GPs will eventually come to the point, right, where they are like your supermarket staff at the self-checkout. Just to verify that you took the plastic bag, all that. I think that will be the direction for most governments and most countries. Most companies as well.
I mean, it's not just surface level with you. You go quite deep into a lot of different domains. And also the synthesis of it, like connecting different things together, which is not something that AI... I mean, it's AI with human in the loop, which is you, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you manage juggling all these things? The domain around politics is a very complex one. You talk about AI and tech. Obviously, you have a tech background and investing.
Podcasting.
Yes.
Yeah. I actually wanted to do podcasting way earlier, but I realized that sometimes you cannot be too early in the sense that like I felt that this year was the inflection point of podcasting, right? The maturity around the area, personality is all, because maybe first it's in terms of Singapore, like the first few OG will be Daily Catch Up, Yalabat, but to organize and synthesize these ideas widely, you need to read broadly.
Yes.
Right. You really need to read broadly. And what was that? Was it Elon Musk's mother that said, for any good thing to come up, 2 great ideas must have, this part you bleep out, ideas.
Yes.
Right, yeah. So
there's actually also non-adjacent ideas coming together to form.
With AI, right, most of the ideas can synthesize faster, better, more powerful. And it helps people, let's just say like us, right, where you've been in business, you kind of know the basic rails of how to get things started, how to talk to people. Then you know which ideas work, which ideas don't work. And it's about, if you are, let's just say, if you have self-checking behavior, in other words, where am I wrong, right? AI is the best for this.
Yes.
Right? It's like you will ask AI and say, okay, I have this great idea. How will I be wrong? What are the risks? What are the competitors? AI will give it to you straight.
But if you're Dilulu?
But if you're Dilulu, right, then you ask your, let's just say your assistant or your employee, they're like, no, I think you can do it. Then it's like, These days, even when I share in politics or business, I ask people, I say, am I wrong? Am I right? Then they'll say, we don't know. Let's go ask AI first. Later we come back to this conversation. Yeah.
Which is what the Prime Minister, was it Sweden or Finland did, right? And then he's got a whole uproar around. This as well.
Yeah. So yesterday also, like, there's this topic I was discussing in a forum, right, when I was a panelist. Was was how do we get more overseas voters? Because of the 200,000 registered overseas voters, only about 3,000 votes get counted eventually.
Yep.
And I've been brainstorming this idea of using blockchain and all those. There are computer science professors and other software engineers that say, it's possible to be anonymous. Because the worry of just digital voting is anonymous. So I would ask ChatGPT about, okay, give me the technical implementation, which agency will do this, how will we verify all that. And it's wonderful. And I hope that, government will do more of it.
Well, I'm very curious to look at your ChatGPT cache.
Yeah. Some of it is very simple. Why the mosquito so big?
Should publish that someday, all the funny ones.
Yeah, no, it's like even my wife kept asking me, how come the mosquito don't bite you and bite me only? So apparently it's like I sweat a lot, so mosquitoes don't like that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what ChatGPT said.
ChatGPT said if you're sweaty, and then it's like, then they'll cite
I mean, you've been obviously on a lot of podcasts, and all these different events, and you speak about it, right? What's one thing that people get completely wrong about you after watching you, or you feel like people get wrong about you?
Of course, the initial point is this crypto bro
Yes.
Right. And that one's already passed already. Like you all had the election 9 days to go and say I'm a crypto bro, so you're done already. You cannot use that. But I think one thing that's podcasting is very good for Singaporeans. It's the opening of the soul. I feel because Singaporean personalities, right, are all like either you mugger or you screen time type of personality. We also very lazy type of people in Singapore. We don't express many things in like IG or what. Then we also don't want to be like cringe in. Yes. Call LinkedIn cringe in. Yeah. And then podcasting is like, it's a good way for just like multiple people with like semi-okay ideas to come out.
Some opinions.
It's not as performative.
It's not as performative, right? And that is very refreshing for Singaporeans because throughout the course of the election, I start to realize there are a lot of silent Singaporeans. They resonated with me only because I said what they've been wanting to say, but they didn't know where to say it. So it's like I'm their therapy. And I think that's the thing that I encourage more podcasting in Singapore. Like I was just on one this week where I think it was like 400 subscribers or something. Then she's like, okay, we're so glad to have you. And I'm just like, Singapore's so small already. Like who cares, right? Let's just go.
What was the interesting podcast that's very memorable for you? Like what?
So the one that I did with Josh, Astute Parent, was very interesting because we both did it in the other podcasting space. It's the small one at Esplanade, And that one is like we thought the microphone was working, but actually it's a dud. The microphones are then we did that. I was like, okay. This week one that I went for, the usual place at Straits Times, was that one was a bit daunting. Because they have like production staff, 3 cameras, red light, live on, this kind of thing. They have countdown, and it was live as well.
Right.
So one of the ways a lot of the articles have described you, or the word used was that you're a retired entrepreneur. What happened to that plan? Was that always the plan? And how do you go from retired to busy every day doing multiple things?
It's very easy to be just like traveling, see the world, right? But I think one thing that has stopped me from doing that is that my dog has diabetes. So I need to give him insulin every 12 hours.
Right.
So it's like, okay, then plan over already. Like, no, I cannot travel for at least I cannot travel regularly for at least the next 10 years, maybe. Hopefully 10 years, please. So because of that, when I found out my dog had diabetes 3 years ago, that's when I started thinking, since I can't really travel, then what do I do?
Then politics is what you came up with.
Yeah, I came up with. And we had this conversation just now, right? It's like the decision to enter politics is not just who you see as the incumbent candidates. It's who you see keeping the incumbent in check. Right? And if you feel like either from a standpoint of apathy, why are you laughing at that? No. Either you feel from a standpoint of Singaporeans have become too apathetic. Or what's worse is that they are interested to be in politics, but we are not getting the good candidates. Then both ways,
you're a loser.
You're a loser. So that's why I decided should try at least. I think the telltale sign of whether or not politics is stagnating. I went to read the entire Hansard, right, for the last parliament. There was a lot of same parroting, same script, right? And you realize that it's a very expensive way to copy paste, because there's so many man hours, few million millions of dollars inside there, right? And then like our ministers of law, their time so expensive, you know. It's like, what are we doing all this for? And that's where I decided like in politics.
But there's a sense of the need to conform is one to the party and all that, and then obviously safety is the other one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I think why you came across so refreshing as well. I mean, I have to put my hand up and say, when I first heard about you, I was like, well, this is a good way to put, your deposit and use it as a marketing line item. That was my first impression.
You could also mess up terribly,
yes.
right?
Correct.
Yeah. These days, I mean, if we were to see what's happening with the two other candidates, Samuel and William.
Yeah.
William, every night his live stream will be like 300-400 people on TikTok joining him. Then they just try to like disturb him. And then Samuel is getting like acting deals.
Wow.
Yeah, and stuff like that, right? And he's getting like, this be a paid person for interior design and AI courses. Yeah, but you also must be prepared that, the people will come for you. It's high ROI if you are a personality.
Yes.
Because there are some people who try to do stupid things like sing songs or like do some martial arts or whatnot. And then it's like, no, you didn't catch on. The meme didn't catch on, right?
Yeah. But the bar is very low.
Yeah. But for Samuel, I spoke to him yesterday. He's legitimately very creative. And I see his Facebook thoughts. I'm just like, where was this in the election? Yeah, and then like, why you wait until after the election to be writing all this stuff? And then he's like, he prefers to do most of his communications in Chinese. And but there's a whole market for that.
Yeah. What was the argument for not getting into politics? When you were deciding and talking to people and getting advice and all that, what was the argument for not getting in?
That's a very good question, actually. Probably the argument for that was everybody else's. It's like your private life, right? The private life is the biggest one. I think it's never about the cost of the work. Singaporeans, we are like trained to slave out. We can duke anything out in life. And you put it to us, tell us this is the pot of gold you get. We will go and mug the shit out of it. We'll do it. You know what I mean? But it's really about like own personal life or that people trying to dig up things on you. Like I had one guy during the election, he kind of asked me, hey, you stay Tanjong Pagar one? Why you come and run? I checked it out on your domains. And I'm like, oh my God, you go and who is my domain to find out that I used to stay Tanjong Pagar and you still got it wrong. I stay in Juchet. So it's all this stuff like that. And then people will say, hey, this person, this and that person. And I keep thinking about that, like,
It's not just you also, it's you, your wife, your family.
Exactly. But my wife is a very nice person. Like everybody she's ever spoken to, like loves her. So it's great for her. Like, it's more of like, I got like 25 chat groups here that can link. It's not even like one chat group, it's like 25 chat groups. And so I think
automate that.
And I realized that like if that's the case, if that's the way that the game is played to keep politics only controlled, then I think all the more I should run.
All the more.
Yeah, because if that's the thing that people will do to keep politics within the same group, the same family, the same people, then all the more I should run, right? And I think that is the difficult part, because it really took a lot of time to consider.
But if it's not just getting everything out in the open, it's also because this is politics, you will get attacked.
Yeah.
Right, and then you're having to be prepared to have to defend yourself and to have some of these conversations where you'll be like, why does this even matter?
Yeah.
Right, how did you.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting because I'm starting to think about like how the other incumbent candidates also have a lot of crap on their plate, right?
Yeah.
So that I think to myself, it's like, do we really want to let politics be degenerative to the point where let's just say, you had one time your grad. You made some comments or one customer on your website and then say they did not give me this refund. Like, do we want to let politics come to that stage?
Gutter
Politics, right? It's stuff like that, right? And then it's like, like if you run a business, right? It could be like, my boss used to say something bad to me or like something like that, right? And it's like, where do we draw that line anymore? Because it's like everything can blow up in your face. And I hope that we actually, through this, we break that culture slowly, which is like, it's not important, please. Like, it's not egregious. Like, don't break the law and you don't abuse your employees or whatever, right? We're all humans, come on. As if like all the political candidates right now all perfect like that. You go and, you know what I mean?
Was there a line in the sand when you went, okay, this is it, I'm going to do this? Like, what was that moment? Was there a moment?
It was very certain, but the real moment where I'm like, okay, this is happening was 1st April this year, right? And I was like, okay, this is happening. I'm running with the Bitcoin is my what. Then I launched the site, I published live. Within 7 days, Straits Times say, hey, we want to interview you. Well, I didn't even post anywhere. I was just like, I mean, maybe on my LinkedIn, I say I'm running. But what was scary was 1st April I post, Bitcoin, yes, let's go. If 2nd April, Trump do Liberation Day tariffs, everything drop, and then Bitcoin goes to like 70,000. Okay, I'm like, oh no. Yeah, I mean, it's recovered since. So
That was a good or bad day depending on where you are now.
yeah, exactly, right. Yeah, and then, but it's quite funny also because he gives very simple instructions that people try to be too giga-brain about, right? He just say, now is a great time to buy stocks. And turns out it was a great time to buy stocks.
Interesting, like how were you feeling emotionally? Like, no, it's a big thing, right? To kind of actually put yourself out there. It takes guts, basically. Like, what went through your mind, man?
If you master yourself, I think it's a lot easier, which is, and I think that part took years. Which is like knowing your anxieties, knowing your pain, knowing your ups or downs, and knowing just what you expect out of this, or rather not to expect anything out of it, right? Is actually important, right? Because most people go into politics and they say, I expect this. I think you behave that way, it warps your decision matrix. Yeah. But over the years, because I grew up in a challenged environment, poverty youth, and I shared this story, eat porridge with pickles last time, and porridge with salted egg and all that. Yeah, so a lot of it is about knowing that everybody has affluence and a good life generally in the first world, right? But if we behave that way and everybody starts to participate in somebody will fix this problem, I think generally that will lead us to nowhere. And it's starting to show up already. I mean, business liquidations, Grab payday loans increase, F&B closures, then nightlife, first weekend of the 4 a.m. thing,
4 a.m.
nobody stay until 4 a.m. It's sometimes, right, the policies, right, don't need to overanalyze over things. Just go and look. Just go and see.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's very obvious one. You talk about say that mental preparation. It's about these are the things I care about. I don't care about if someone has an opinion on me online. Right? I care about I don't know how we all are, right? I know how you are. But back in the day, wow, how fun was it? After work, you go to Ann Siang, you walk around, you eat, you drink, go to Blue Key, Club Key, everywhere. And then maybe you swing over to the Bak Kut Teh and then the Zouk, all that. And it's like, why did we give up all that, right? Why? And late night hawker, why? As in asking such questions, why? What exactly is the reason why we get out there? Politics is about steering the outcome. It's not about anything else other than the outcome. It's as simple as that. And I want the outcome that we used to have. We get gaslighted. They say, nowadays people don't like to drink as much. You lower the price, you lower the alcohol tax, you see the outcome, right?
Yes.
It's a very simple thing. And then I wrote that. People I'll say, actually, I should lower the alcohol tax. And that's one thing very interesting about alcohol. You see everything go up in price throughout the last 10 years. Alcohol, same price.
That's true.
The companies are holding it down for the whole economy.
Hopefully it comes back.
I mean, I speak for me, myself, and maybe some of my friends, common friends, which is politics in Singapore to me has always been a sense of we've used indifference as a defense mechanism or self-preservation because there's a general feeling that no matter how much you care about it, things don't really change. Yeah. And I think there are a few parts to it. One is maybe there's an understanding there's a majority of Singaporeans that need to hear a certain type of narrative. Which may not be everybody else. And just talking about the National Day speech like that, there are certain things obviously that could have been done or said better, but then is there a general public that maybe needs to hear this narrative, right? Versus some of us that maybe feel a bit different about certain policies and things like that. So indifference has always been my way of approaching this. You rose above all of that and said, I'm going to run as an independent, right? In a space where the deck is very clearly stacked against you. Like, what is that? What kind of mindset does that take to?
Yeah. My mindset is that most of the change occurs outside the parliament anyway. Right? The parliament is more of like a final draft.
To codify the change.
Yeah, to codify the change, right? It's like just to double check, right? And what I don't like about what I perceive the current behavior of certain MPs, not everyone, they are good MPs, PAP MP, Workers' Party, they're good ones, is that they become Deliveroo customer service recovery officer. Your order was late. Sorry, here's a voucher. Let me carry this for you. It's like, like if your friends who are in the insurance agent industry, they have become like a semi-butler, It's like, let me do these things for you, do that thing for you. And they're not well read enough on Singapore's policies, right? And they cannot give you that quality whereby they contest certain things. But in the age of AI, right, there should be no excuse. Everybody should be well versed on everything, right? Or rather, at least you know how to get AI started. And I think that's like the super important part. It's like going up against the machinery like the PAP, right? It's the whole point of it is to get everybody to work together outside of Parliament. Because then now we have more civic discussions, we have more events to attend, and it should be more fun. A lot of it is, I think a lot of the political, you talk about indifference, it's because it's not fun. Like,
Yes.
It's so boring. And it's boring because like people who are interested in politics, right, are interested in performative, like, oh, you know, as thinkers, we must think like that. But there's not much thinking left to do, guys. Right? With AI, there's not much thinking. It's more about like getting a good sense of what's, you know, hitting us and all that. As long as you can create enough movement and change outside, right, I think that's starting to help us. You see, like one of the things that people keep complaining about, like I did the Animal Welfare Forum. 2 weeks later, they increased the jail term for the cat killer. Bukit Canberra, Social Enterprise Hawker Center.
Yes.
KFC told KBKB.
Yes.
Ong Kang say no such thing. KFC told say I brought the receipt. Yeah, okay, actually, you know what? Yeah, we know from now on don't need to give all these no contractual obligations for use.
But the contract still stays the same.
And now it extends. The argument extends to wait. How come the hawker center operators are being paid to run that place and also charge a rent on top? So the discussion morphs quickly, right? And that's what we should have in Singapore, right? You make enough noise, right, to the point that they say, oh, okay, you know, we're going to do something.
Civil discourse.
Yeah. And previously, you have, I would say, you know, past elections it's all about very like, oh, I worked in a great firm, I came from a good school before I can talk about anything politics, right? But I think we need to move past that. There's no such thing as like the who are you? Why are you commenting? Like you go to Reddit, so much good content, but nobody knows who the hell is anybody, right? So I think that's the whole point, rather than just wait for Parliament.
How much of politics do you think is performative and how much of it is really true substance?
Yeah, I think right now it's about like maybe 60-40. Yeah. I think that like the speed of which we do things in Singapore needs to increase dramatically. I think one of the most unpopular stuff that I talked about on my campaign trail was reducing the number of people here. It's very simple, okay. We used to have this social mobility, as President Tawan used to call it. Within one generation, education brings you out to better outcomes, better than your previous generation. But is that true today? And if that's not true today, then what are we going to do for the people that exist here, the children? Right? Yeah. And right now, that discussion is not being had. Whenever we mention any red flag of AI taking away all future incomes of a certain child, we get the response back as, no lah, we'll find better jobs. That's not a good response. And we are all like, you know, being in the world of commerce, enterprise, not in civil service, we know that's not true.
Yes.
Right? And if we know that's not true, but the leaders want to tell you, no, there will be better jobs, you will learn how to use AI better.
Yeah.
Then we're like, but you haven't worked a day in private life.
Yeah.
How will you know?
Yeah.
Right? And that is why, like, for me, that's when I decided that, okay, at some point in time, politics is the last place to go to, and that's the place that I'm left with. Like even we talk about, like, say, the Bitcoin thing that one. I'm not wanting some radical things. Okay, I mean I did mention some radical things, but
got you the headlines.
Yeah. But the base case is, look, America is a Bitcoin ETF.
Yeah.
We can have a Bitcoin ETF on SGX. It's a win-win.
Yep.
And behind closed doors, there was so much work done before the election to get this done, but it was never. And I don't understand why. And it's like, people can buy lousy stocks on Catalyst. You allow people to trade CFDs. You allow people to do like bull bear betting on Mumu and Tiger, and then suddenly a Bitcoin ETF, it is way too risky. It doesn't make sense, right? And like, you know, even on the SGX, all the stocks, it's like the entire board of directors is their family, that kind, you know, like the whole family owns the company, and it's like allowed to list. It's like, why are we gonna buy?
Yeah.
Right.
Zero governance.
And then they say NTT DC REIT, wow, this bar is gonna revive the market now. Not even at $1. Hey, come on, like, it's performative. You talk about it, a lot of it is performative. You say a statement, this is the statement. Then they want to have actions that sort of back up the statement, but it doesn't work.
I think this election, a lot of people are seeing through the performative part of it. I think a lot of it is with you and other independents also. Just being more informed, or actually also proposing solutions that, like, in my view, actually make sense, right? At least shows that there's some rigor in the thinking and the understanding of the problem.
You want to talk, right?
Yeah.
But not everybody want to listen. So you must keep it short.
Yeah.
Don't, just because you are in politics doesn't mean people want to listen to you. There has been many that come before you, and like, don't take for granted the airtime people give for you, right? Yeah, at least I put in time to get research, this kind of thing.
It was a piece of art. It was a piece of art. I mean, all the way from the way you started, you made a joke about the previous day attack, and diffused that. you had that line around part-time, full-time, enough provocation, and that it was a piece of art.
Actually, a lot of it was, in crafting the campaign, I monitored Trump's campaign a lot. Two of the things that I really focused on was firstly, how many rallies will he say the same thing?
Yeah.
And how many rallies and interviews he don't say the same thing. So I monitored that in new grounds and new media avenues, he will repeat the same stuff. I saw Elon Musk rocket, go out, right? He repeated that so much. Right, yeah. Then he's like, there's a genius, I never seen before. Then so he repeated that a lot. And then there are other stuff that he kept it more like depending on his audience, he chop it up. Trump is the master of the walk-in.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So, in my rally, right, I did the walk-in. Which is like from the back, So these are some of the stuff that I'm like, these tactics.
Like even your moment when you started, and then you and then you stopped to drink water. And then just held everybody's attention for a while. That was genius. So, would you have changed anything about it? Would you have added anything to it?
In retrospect, yeah.
Actually, I would have probably tried to rehearse that.
Did something crashed or something? Your computer crashed?
My phone.
Oh, your phone crashed.
And my computer. Yeah. I wrote my speech around 7. The thing was at 8.
Oh.
Yeah. And I used some AI and all that here, but 48 minutes, right? Because I was counting, you always count my number of words, right? Then I think to myself, wow, most rarely 3 hours, 4 hours, who want to watch this shit? Wow, I also don't want to talk so long.
Most Singaporeans are not good orators. So that's
But it's more fun that, it's like, I keep joking about how I tell the police officer, there's going to be so many people coming down, don't worry. But it's just to manifest, I don't even know how many people is going to come down.
Actually, it's interesting because you had some really good anchors. I think thinking about it from psychological and even marketing, right? The full-time pay, part-time work. I saw you on the Contractive with the bitch portfolio. There's some really good sound bites and anchors. And I know you have a debate background, right? And then obviously you obviously have your own business and you have marketing and all that. How much that played into this? Because it feels like a lot of it was it intentional or just came about?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was. The business part really helped me refine the way I handled debate thing. Because I did a very B2C heavy stuff. So a lot of it, the marketing stuff is you got to be sharp. And it's like the training from just say open the email, above the fold, below the fold, where's your call to action? Call to action, where's the offer? Stuff like that. And then speed load, everything. This is more of generally, I just want the product in front of the people. Right? And I feel like, obviously I don't want the PAP to learn, but
giving away secrets.
Yeah, but it's like the product has to be in front of people and it's got to be like, wow, that's impact. Like this National Day rally, I had no idea what was the product, right? It's like, okay, last year we had all the Kallang Alive, the vouchers, the baby bonus, and it's like this year it's like, what is the product? Right? And then after he talked very long, then he's like, go chase the rainbow. Then I'm like, huh? What was the product?
What was the premise?
As in it's like you every year you are supposed to convince and inspire people. No, you're not there to take it easy. I got this. You have to be like, take it easy, I got this because.
Yes.
Right. Just generally the training is just in debate, it's horrible because you may be a very good orator, but you might end up on the PAP side. Because most of it is about conversation, about positions, about taking stances and but you don't construct.
Yes.
Yeah. In business, you must construct. Yes. The eventual point is okay, let's get even we disagree. Eventually, you must construct the product.
And I think there's also interestingly how you approaches you took. For example, the list. Looking at people who have lost the tender. It's almost like people finding out for the first time. Hey, actually, there's a different way to do this or a better way to get information. Right.
But the storytelling.
The storytelling is great.
Yeah.
But even the approach of how you did certain things, where for me at least, it feels like, there's actually a light there may be a light at the end of this tunnel that I can see now.
There are certain actions that you must do the same way always. For example, there are no two different ways to use your restroom to ease your urges.
Yes.
But other than that, pretty much eating got different way, drinking got different way, everything there's a different way. You know, you talk about like using terms to capture people's attention. I think once again, right, you look at American politics because they do it such high stakes, so much money involved. Like once you say something, right, and it sticks, right, it sticks forever. Like they call Hillary Clinton because 57 people around her, our close people, just miraculously die, or like Sleepy Joe, right. And then Pocahontas, they call Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas. So it's stuff like that. It's like once it's in the mind, it's gonna stick forever. And politics, you have to play this game. You have to study. I mean, basically, you study.
It sounds like you're enjoying yourself. Are you enjoying yourself?
Honestly, I went in there with the hope and the not the expectation, the hope that I would win. But one piece of advice that my uncle gave me was like, you can only win if you're ready to lose. And he works for the PAP. So, and I just kidding. But that's the advice that he told me. That then I started to ease up and relax, and then I started to craft the campaign on the basis that I must be ready to lose. And that was the difference maker, because he told me, it's like, you know, you will never, you're very hopeful you can. It's like, you go to a sales deal, like, I'm going to nail that. But if you're more likely to win if you're ready to lose. Right?
I'm sure there's an endpoint you're looking for, right? Like there's a goal you're trying to achieve. Is that maybe it's not this round, but you're hoping to get into parliament next round? Is there a goal in this?
Yeah, I don't see it as a seat goal. I see it as policy goals.
Okay.
Right. So as long as I can help Singaporeans get more involved in policy making, discussions like that. Because I was very, it's like talking about the Animal Welfare Forum, right? I heard from the people, because they're like zoo gang, I got a bird gang, then got turtle gang, then they got horse gang. And then the horse master people, the Equestrian Society was saying, hey, Turf Club shut down. We had 3 horses that were not managed properly. I didn't even know there was a horse management protocol. It's like learning stuff like that. It was very interesting to me. Because you're like, hey, 1 horse we found in underground racing in Malaysia. And then 2 go Vietnam for food, or not? Then we're like, oh, wow. The whole room just like went silent. You learn all these kinds of different facts of life and interesting things, right? Which is like, if more Singaporeans care about these things, right, and more civic discourse goes around, then it's better, because we don't have a lot of resources to employ, NGOs, all that. So it's better we use hands than money to solve problems. Right?
Interesting. You spoke a lot about the domestic side of things, the vision for Singapore and all that. Like, what's your view of Singapore global? Like, what are your thoughts there?
It is not a bit spicy.
Just curious.
We have never been shy in accepting money in this world. So we must lean in and be bolder in accepting money in this world. Sooner or later, all businesses in this world will accept stablecoins. Everything, we want them as much as possible to flow through Singapore. There's only so much trade that can flow through our shores and ports. But how much capital goes through our nation, it's a function of how much we invest in the infrastructure for them to do so. And Singapore will forever be that place that people with legitimate money but living in illegitimate governments, right? For these type of people, Singapore will always be a form of home, be in a property or that. We want to say Singapore spirit, let's be real. The original Singapore spirit was about escaping regimes and finding a safe place for your money. We must not lose sight of the fact that, I'm not saying launder money here. I'm saying build all your wealth and store your wealth here. And Singapore will be a very good family city, right? I think we just have to make a few tweaks for it to be a family city, right? More civic mindedness in the way we party, the way we enjoy. And
arts and culture.
Arts and culture. And we must also be very careful about the way we design education. There are schools like, can you even guess what's the cost of like the yearly fee of SJI International?
2K?
You?
2K, 5K a month?
Around there, I think,
5K a month. 5K a month. Yeah, basically you go there and it's a permanent travel agency. You don't actually study. But actually it might be the way, it sounds crazy, but it might be the way forward, because what are the kids' odds against AI? Really? Like, you see the traineeships that they just launched, it's 1,600 to 2,004, and some of the employers are like Grab. It's a go one round to just go work for Grab, no? Right? Yeah, and it's 800 slots. It's
Yep.
like FASS alone is like 1,004, 1,005 maybe. The fundamental part is that maybe the whole education system needs to change, and also
That one we don't
This is
disagree with
very,
you.
this is a big topic.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. Needs a rehaul.
needs a huge rehaul. It's, maybe it's like you teach financial literacy at like up at the age of 4.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The problem is we like measurements.
Yeah. We like
We
predictable
optimize
outcomes.
against measurements, and we don't know how to measure otherwise than
No,
exam
but
results.
the problem is the measurement becomes the target and then
Correct.
becomes inefficient.
Gamified and everything. And the funny thing about tuition and scams is that it's about trust in the system.
Yeah.
Right? We have $2 billion as a tuition industry, and we lose 1.1 billion in scams. There's too much trust in a system, and that's the reason why I go to politics, right? Because the trust in the system needs to be verified. It needs to be verified that you're getting those outcomes. So you ask about where Singapore will be. The right way I see Singapore in the future is it has to be a family city. It has to be a place where people park their wealth safely from governments that they don't have. And by and large, Singapore is a great government, right? So people in the future with, be it Bitcoin, stable coins, we want more of them here, right? And we want them building up their legacy here. I think that's the most important thing.
How to do KYC with?
There are a lot of ways today on Fido. There are a lot of on-ramp, off-ramp partners that do pure KYC. But we must also be realistic, okay? With the way that Trump has printed so much money in the last 5 years, your KYC got limit.
Yeah.
In other words, performative or actually doing it, right?
Yep.
It's like, don't say we are AML city, but you cannot do.
Yes.
Is there, back to the other point, are there compromises you have to make to think about what's good for Singapore versus in the long term, and that's why we have the 6 million goal and all that, versus
I think
how do we take care of Singaporeans?
the three biggest compromise that we'll see, rather I'm trying to push for, right? We'll see is, the first one is the population goal, right? We'll definitely have to shrink. We'll definitely have to push it down, right? When we shrink the population, we can also shrink our expectations of property prices. By and large, property is still a controlled thing. Because, as much as they say, it's like, we have limited land, whatnot. But let's face it, you got 12 golf courses. People didn't know that we have 12 golf courses. Why?
For now.
Yeah. No, and that's after removing a lot already.
Yes.
Right. The second one is, unfortunately, we will have to build around AI rather than thinking of company and labor. More companies will come to the point whereby it is centrally decided, but not shareholder decision making. It will be workers coming together to say, let's pool capital, let's co-op. The original NTUC vision will come into play.
Or the irony of
The irony of that, right? And then lastly will be, who are the property owners of this society? What will be their role in ensuring that even though they are rich, once rich forever, how will be the once poor forever be helped back in society? Because if you are the son of, say, like, maybe the CEO of CapitaLand or whatever, because of AI, right, the next guy cannot catch up to you already, right? The guy that's maybe born to a Grab driver today cannot catch up to you. It's impossible. You can say how much you want, you can say like, with good luck, whatever, but it's impossible.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the point we have to start realizing, okay, who are the rich ones in society? We need to build around their companies. We need to build around the state. For example, the state has shipyard, water cleaning. We have, maintenance of everything. Who are the people that benefit from it? That's super important.
What do you say to individuals who come up to you and say, those who are being displaced either by jobs, pricing, or AI? What's your individual personal advice? Here's what you need to do.
Personally, I tell people, of course, I tell you buy Bitcoin, but but of course,
at this current price.
yes,
ETFs
in the sense that like your cost of living issue is because of debasement, fiat displacement. But put it very simply, I also want people to don't think so much of stocks and don't spend so much time thinking, because more action means more error. So that's why like thinking about fiat debasement was one of my campaign strategies, right? And now everybody is fighting over what's going to happen for the verse, like what's going to happen to flats, all that. But the one thing I say is find any job that you can absolutely hang on to and just hang on. You, as much as you can, you invest in something that doesn't debase. And that's the problem with Singaporeans. The first thing when they hear that, they think, HDB is the one my friend got, so I must have. And then to get that, they fight each other, or not only that, they BTO, right? They BTO the wrong person, then divorce, then more social ills. That's the piece of advice I would give to them. I would also say, don't try to think of too many or investment ideas or all that. Yeah, but income streams, I think there are still quite a significant number of income streams you could try. Right? But I won't tell them that you just learn how to use AI better and the job will be there. That is a given already. No need to teach.
Which is the skills future story, right?
Yeah, it's a skills future. Hey, let me tell you something about skills future, right? Guys, if it's so good, why do we have 50% of Singaporeans never use? Singaporean very kiasu, very simple-minded. We see the outcome, we know the tangible outcome, right? We will do it on why 50% not unused? Because we just don't see the value of it. There's not so much thinking required behind skills future traineeship. As long as the take-up rate is poor, it's because people have seen the outcomes. It's crazy. I mean, it's it's simple things like that tells you whether or not a policy works or not.
You have a lot of contrarian views on different things. And I think some of it, you have done a really good job in trying to explain it to everyday people, right? Where do these views come from? And how do you sort of construct these views and validate them over time?
One important part of it is actually being in debate for a very long time. You are forced to take a position, then as part of training, reverse the position. And that's when you start to involve things like, okay, what are the values here? What is the outcome we want? For most of the contrarian views, right, it's good to stretch the limits of imagination first, and then we settle on the details later. And most of the time, policy is done the other way around. They follow a protocol first, and then later the outcome is like, everybody contributed. What the heck did we cook? Right, it's a bad tasting stew and soup because everybody wanted to cover the ass. There's product driven and there's protocol driven.
Yes.
Right, but so we by and large in society, we are protocol driven in governance. But in outcomes, we must always be product driven. Right? We must always think of okay, things have changed. Headwinds and tailwinds have adjusted. What is the product we want? Major things have changed. Like tariff is like a major thing. From wanting to love Bitcoin and protect his crypto portfolio more than real estate is a major thing. Because why? He's entrenching the entire world under his stablecoin umbrella. Lending is no longer limited to participants of the US Federal Reserve. Lending is as long as you have a phone or whatnot, you want to lend people and get yields on a stablecoin protocol, you can just go plug it in. This is the end days of late-stage capitalism. But you see that they put up the biggest fight, go to endless wars and whatnot. So the question is, when we look like with Singapore, what is the outcome we want? What's the product we want? Knowing that this will drag out 20, 30 years. Knowing that in the future, you are going to Bali, you're going to Mexico City, you're not paying in their native currency already. You're paying with your USDT wallet, USDC wallet, Solana even. And if that is the outcome you know is going to happen, time to act. Act early. Right? And property eventually will be transacted and stored, deposits, all that in USDT, USDC. And there's no reason for countries to have their own stablecoin currency if there's a superior one like USDT and USDC. So people don't know that these are the forces that are pushing forward, right? And if we do protocol basis, right, by the time we discuss, we're done. Because we also want to have a balance. We don't want everything in Singapore economy to be traded only on US dollars, right? Then we have no economic sovereignty. But that's why I talk about Bitcoin, because then it's like the thing that started the whole thing. So as much as we can, Singapore dollars should be backed by Bitcoin. And of course, it's been 4 months since the election, and it's like took this long for me to get to this.
I mean, people are more informed for sure, I think, through this whole process. So that's kudos to you on that.
I mean, also, it's like, you talk about indifference just now. It should be the case whereby the richest people are most indifferent, right? Technically, because they can escape
nothing
the
to lose also.
Or they follow the money. Or they follow the money.
Follow the money, right? So I found that Mountbatten was the most emblematic of this behavior.
Because 73% private.
73% private property. So either they don't give a shit, or they want to give a shit and they will follow it all the way. And they are indifferent, right? But they're indifferent to the point of let me go and see, let me point a finger at the ruling party and see what happens. And I felt that Mountbatten is the perfect storm for this. In analysing places to run.
Did you get a dipstick of the people that didn't vote for you?
They were overseas. Cannot. I think first timer, there are people that they don't, they're just not interested until the day itself. And there are some people that say, I like the rally, I like the guy, but PAP has done so much for me.
Yeah.
On the basis that, they changed my mother's life by bringing my mother from another foreign country here. To them, enough. I don't need to vote anybody else.
It's weird, right? I mean, but it's
It's
also
very weird,
yeah.
but people vote across a range of multiple issues.
Yeah.
It's also I mean, I joke about this, but I feel like it's like if you a good statistic would be rally size is inversely proportional to vote size.
Oh, that's
Here in
Yes.
particular. Here in particular.
yeah.
Is there a personal cost in running for the election as an independent that no one talks about?
Cause or cost?
Cost
Oh, cost.
to you personally?
Personal cost is that I love to just speak freely, right? I have to balance this between using their words for personal relaxation and enjoyment versus inspiring others.
I see. Yeah.
And it's constant work. Now, even within my close friends, I also don't want to say something because I don't want them to be put in a position whereby they say something. Jerry told me this that day that he don't like this candidate.
You don't have to be on a Telegram chat group, you mean?
Yeah. Even if it's not written down.
Yeah.
The fact that, and then maybe he said it to a group of people who like, why you say such thing about this person? I like that person. So it's like, that's the personal cost.
So you need to kind of hide a bit of your true self, would you say?
Or say enough time that everybody knows that's my
Yeah.
position. Yeah.
But you did this whole campaign independently. You had people supporting you, working with you, assisting you, or guiding you. Or...
Yeah, I think short of 3 friends, everybody else was from nomination day itself. The funny thing about this election is, I think the Overton window was broken because they used to think in terms of parties. You think in terms of like, this party is good, that party is good. And then on election day itself, you see, shit, these are the candidates representing my area. Want to give chance, also cannot give chance. I think the Overton window was really lifted when we start to consider ideas and people. I didn't want the discussion to be centered around walkabout strategy. The conversations that I've been having in the multiple political parties is that the walkabout strategy is doomed to fail for non-incumbents. You cannot walk as far as them. You cannot solve the problems.
Yeah, not fast enough.
Yeah, you need new ideas. And hopefully PAP people don't watch this podcast. So, yeah, but that's the thing that I'm telling them.
It's asymmetrical warfare. Actually.
There are tactics for the rebellion, there are tactics for the empire. Right? So far, the empire is playing their hand pretty well.
But if your end goal is policy change, consensus has to be part of that, right?
Yeah.
Well, is there any of your current platforms that you think you will have to compromise on in order to get to that end goal?
Yes, which is to not alienate opinions from different parties, right? One of the problems is that when you have duopoly in the government, which is Workers' Party and PAP now, you're going to get a situation whereby Workers' Party can ignore a lot of issues. Just simply ignore. Not good for me, just ignore. Back to conservative left, conservative right, again, median voter theory. But the problem also is that if you go and oppose them or whatever, you must... Most of the political parties in Singapore, they try to differentiate by opposing more radically. Or like take very PVP stance, right?
Yeah.
And that's not healthy.
Old man shouting at cloud.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it should be a case whereby each serious opposition is seen as constructing together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of construction going on together, and that's more important for me, right? You know, we will definitely disagree. I cannot agree with Dr. Chi on walking 140 kilometers to prove my point, right? I cannot do that, right? Got flat foot, right? Yeah. But you know, it's stuff like, and I chose not to speak about issues that bother him a lot. Like, for example, the Redoubt Road, Keppel, bribery in Brazil. These issues bother him a lot. But I don't say, hey, you know, I must oppose you because you crazy, you talk about it. He will say the same way, why you talk about Bitcoin, you crazy. Right? But I think it's more of like, you engage each other. I disagree with you, I say. You disagree with me, I say. But we shake hands, then that's good for Singapore. Yeah.
Actually, does that bother? I mean, I always see that like on a personal level, you shake hands and you are, all friendly and all that. But then when it comes to the stage, some words are being used. Do you feel like you have to separate the person from the agenda? And
that's why actually, I feel like party manifestos should not be 5 years one time. You should write it, and then as you see things change, you evolve the problem. You evolve it. But right now, everybody's website look like they just don't like VAP, and then it's like, screw you, you're wrong. And some of them don't even have website. Yeah, like I go to some of the parties, their website is like not even WordPress, it's like some Wix single page.
Not responsive.
Yeah, not responsive or something like that. It's like when you buy, when you use digital products, there's the change log. Change logging each party's position based on new information, new situation. Yeah. It's important because if not, why you wait 5 years one time? Workers' Party launched their manifesto 3 or 4 days before nomination day, right? How does that help Singapore decide better? I don't know.
That's true.
Right? And it's like, part of it, they do it because they can. They don't want to be attacked for policies, and the media, basically media attention is very scarce lah, so we cannot waste it.
They need to commit their policies into bid.
Yeah, like put it like you put everything on GitHub, right? So you can see all the changes. Then you cannot lie about that.
Yeah. One last question from me actually, and so if tomorrow, if you're told that you can never run for election and crypto goes to zero, what will you do? What will you do?
I'll make crypto go to 1. I'll probably be join BAP. Let's go.
Oh no!
Take out my family lah. Yeah.
I mean, you can still continue doing the work that you're doing, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, it's more like, okay, maybe as a sort of wrap up, like what do you see is the future of Jeremy, right, in the next, 5 to 10 years? Are there certain things that you think are shaping up in the background that you have a strong belief around that you think people are slowly getting on board? Or
maybe it's not the future of me, but the future of the outcome, which is I hope, or rather I want to make more Singaporeans ready to take over. To take over, to take over parts of society they never knew they might be ready to do so lah. Generally, we like the PAP government and the things they do. There will be a come point in time whereby the difference between a smart person outside of politics and a person inside of politics is just their title lah, right? And it's starting to become more and more obvious now because of AI. So it must be a case whereby the reform will be eventually there one. There will be a radical change in the way policies are created because there will be so much more disagreement than agreement in the next 5 years. But the people must be ready to accept positions of power if the PAP fails. That kind of courage must be built up over time. People must believe they have a stake, they have the agency and the resiliency to see through becoming part of the political process. That's the first step.
if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Yeah, because the people in power, if they really have no clue, they also must have the courage to say, we tried to fix this, we have no clue. Don't tell people, no real, everything's done. Yeah, and that's more important. But when they say they have no clue, you don't just attack, you must also construct.
But you also want a platform where the smart people can feel like they can have that position in that alternative bench if that happens as well. And I think that's the challenge as well. You don't see that in the bench currently.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of joining politics. Because if you don't show that you can join me on that journey and, by way of this, maybe if your friends who are interested and want to speak to me just to understand what the life was, then there are friends who speak to them and then it goes from there. Right? It doesn't, Rome is not built in a day.
Every movement is built by a single individual. Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay.
Cool. Well,
Cool.
Thank you, man, Jeremy, for
Thank
joining
you.
us today, man. I appreciate it. Yeah.
This was everything we dreamt to be.